Welcome to the No Assembly Required podcast. Usually we do our funny intro, but tonight we have to address an elephant in the room. We do want to be respectful to the fact that the tragic passing of George Floyd, who was brutally and violently murdered by former police officers. I've already addressed this on my main channel. And we're saying this at the top of the hour before the podcast because I've had a lot of struggles with mental health this past week in the wake of this. And most of these days have not been good. And I think that that's something that a lot of you relate to and that you're experienced too. So tonight we thought about canceling the show and doing that out of respect. But we also decided that we needed something to feel good about. And we know that a lot of you do too. And I appreciate everybody who's reached out to either become more educated or to show your support or to show solidarity. But tonight is to give ourselves some peace and to protect that peace that we need and to have fun and to laugh and to smile and to be merry. And sometimes you just need that because you can't get through the day, you can't get through the week without it. And we want to do that for you, and we need to do it for ourselves. And so that's tonight's program. So again, thank you to everybody who's been supportive. Thank you to everybody who's educating themselves about these issues. Thank you to everybody who supports us as a whole. And as they like to say, on with the show.
Mary?
Yeah.
Mary?
Anyway.
What year is this? 1832.
let me do my intro, Romina. We have our audience here saying that they really do look forward to them every week. So let me do my intro. Welcome to the No Assembly Required podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing. And now your host. She is the dancing robot, RedRomina. Is that what we're doing tonight? They didn't get to see that at the top of the hour. And your second host, who I refer to constantly as our pop culture intern, Audrey Ember. And your final host, a man who has very complicated thoughts about the world. Can't decide whether to save it or not, Roberto Blake. Welcome to the No Assembly Required podcast, filmed in front of a live YouTube audience. No audience members have been harmed in the filming of this podcast, only the feelings of my co-host. Yeah, welcome to the show, everybody.
And the feelings of some of the audience as well.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. But no, thanks guys for agreeing to do the show tonight. And again, I look forward to talking to you guys and doing the show every week. And I'm having a good day. I'm having a good mental health day. I needed this. This, and I feel like people in our audience needed too. They need something that's not horrible. They need something not horrible. Well, wait, maybe they tuned into the wrong show. Maybe they tuned into the wrong show.
Yeah, they come here to get bullied by us.
Well, probably mostly me.
Well, you know what they say. A true friend will tell you things at front face. They will tell you things to your face instead of behind your back.
They'll tell you the truth.
Well, in this case, I'm doing it from behind a keyboard and a monitor, so I don't know about that.
Roberto.
At least you're talking, not typing.
Keyboard warrior. Keyboard warrior.
Oh, wow. I just thought of a great skit one day. One day we're going to do some stuff on a different thing or a platform, or maybe on one of your channels we can do a skit, but it's literally, you remember when Freddie Wong used to do YouTube back in the day? We could revive some of that type of content. We could keyboard warrior, and we could
that's buy a bunch of Romina with a side of French fries is supposed to be.
Yeah, so we'll do it there or something. We'll do it there and we'll promote the hell out of it. But keyboard warrior, and literally we can mod some really cheap keyboards and literally have a freaking keyboard fight with the keyboard warrior.
Wow, you're really taking this to the next level.
Yeah, no, it's I love.
Who's going to direct it? J.J. Abrams?
I am J.J. Abrams.
Speaking of J.J. Abrams,
yeah,
I don't know what this has to do with J.J. Abrams, but we are going to be talking. We are talking about time travel today. But actually, so today, the day that we are recording this, was June 4th. On June 4th, 1982, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan was released. Now, also,
Khan!
this is important though. Also, so this is, I'm looking at Reddit right now. And in the summer of 1982, these films were also released. Blade Runner, Conan the Barbarian, E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Oh my god, E.T.
Poltergeist,
is terrifying.
The Roar. All right.
Yeah, it is, actually. E.T. is terrifying.
Have you
The
seen that
Secret
dude's
of
finger?
Nim, The Thing, Tron. Look at all these amazing movies that came out in one summer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I'm a little bit concerned, Audrey. When was the last time you watched CT?
I only watched it once because I was traumatized once when I was little.
No,
Wow.
E.T. I loved E.T., but it also did scare me, so I couldn't watch it at night.
It was a little weird.
I could not watch that movie without getting
And it was
nightmares
not
of that
E.T.
alien.
himself that scared me. It was everything else in it that was the
Who came up with that
Wait.
character design? Like, I'm sorry.
All right,
I was
Audrey's afraid of
absolutely
E.T.
terrified of E.T.'s finger.
You
when I was
can't
little.
watch anything Lovecraftian then, Audrey. You can't, like, because if Lovecraft, if Audrey had to see, if Audrey had to see any of the Lovecraftian monsters, she'd never sleep again.
She would never recover.
If I was in E.T., the story would have ended real quick. I would just did you like
E.T.
find him or something?
I mean,
In the-
E.T. was cute compared to a lot of the other puppets that were on.
No.
Yeah.
I highly disagree with that.
Yeah, if you
statement.
look at any other movie that has puppets like that.
I mean, to be fair, I haven't watched it in forever. So
I
gonna go look up a
loved
picture of it.
the Dark Crystal. I loved everything that like Jim Henson Company. What?
I'm looking at a picture of him right now, and I
think
still
that-
understand why I did not appreciate this movie.
Never
This
look
thing
up
is
Cthulhu.
absolutely terrifying.
Then never
How
look up
is it
Cthulhu.
cute?
Never look up
She's-
Cthulhu. Then Audrey, never look up Cthulhu because you won't be able to
Look
sleep.
Look.
Audrey, can you figure out how to spell that?
Yeah. Well, see, that one doesn't bother me as much. I don't know why.
What?
Maybe it's because it's like
She's not terrified.
weird. E.T. is like, I don't even have the words to describe him. It's just,
Maybe
I
because
can't.
it's a more realistic. It's more theoretically real. No, think about it. The weird, the hyper weirdness of it. It's not this exaggerate. It's not meant to be a grotesque monster. It's just weird.
Maybe the thing that bothers you about E.T. is the fact that it actually looks real.
I mean, I think that's part of it, but it's also it's like E.T. is plausible in terms of a weird alien because it's like it's weird and it's not exactly threatening. It's not meant to be overtly monstrous in the way that you look at a wild animal. Because the thing is, like Cthulhu and Lovecraftian monsters look like what you would expect monsters that can't be real. So it's like it's almost non-threatening because it's just meant to be nightmare fuel. Something that is more, this is just out of place, is probably more terrifying, in my opinion.
Do you see his picture, Romina? Tell me that's not terrible. I cannot.
He's his friend.
No.
It's just E.T. and his
I will
chest is
never
glowing
understand.
red.
I remember going to Disney like a couple years ago, and I literally, or when I was in like high school, my mom was like, "Let's go on ET because there's no line." I was like, "Please, can we just not go on ET?"
You mean Universal?
Universal, yeah.
Yeah, let's
It's not
not,
that I was
let's not
scared. It's just I
get those confused.
don't. Wow.
But I guess I'm surprised. I mean, E.T.
He has 3 toes.
and
ETs could destroy us.
I agree.
I
with
don't
that.
think so. I don't think so, Roberto.
ETs
Don't you
demonstrated
remember?
that they can do mind control and puppetry.
All right, but you remember
proved they could
the
siphon the
ET?
life force from us. They could siphon the life force from us, and they also have telekinesis, rendering our weapons useless.
All right, but remember the group of ETs that were in Star Wars?
Can you imagine
They
if like
live in a, they survive in a galactic empire wherein space wizards ravage the galaxy. So yeah, they clearly are a threat.
Audrey,
Can you
know
imagine
that
if we got invaded by ETs?
That's my
That
point.
would
They
be
could destroy us.
absolutely terrifying.
That's my point. They could destroy us.
Oh
We
my
wouldn't
God.
even. They wouldn't even have to, because they would just mind control us into believing that they are our friends while they steal all of our water, because that's what the reason they came to Earth. You know, they in ET they came to Earth because they
Audrey's
needed
not having
plants
it.
and water and resources because their planet was dying.
Audrey's
And
shaking her head. She's like,
I
not
found
today.
This thing, no, I can't. I
Elliot was
completely
sick because
understand.
ET was siphoning his life force through their connection, and he
They're
ultimately
evil.
was able. He was able to puppet him. He was able to puppet
Why
ET.
are you
He was
jumping
able to
to
puppet Elliot.
conclusions here? He just
He's
wanted
like
to go
a-
home.
He's like an evil Professor Xavier.
Wow. You guys, you know what? I'm on ET's side over here.
With also Rogue's life siphoning.
I'm on ET's side over here.
Dude, I don't. If they put ET in a horror film, like an Annabelle, but it's evil, can you imagine? That would be absolutely terrifying. I would not like that at all.
Yeah, no, the ET aliens would destroy us or enslave us. That's like those are our options. It's like they'll like
We're
you know,
already enslaved by the
they'll-
cats.
but well, I mean, yeah, I mean, do you know the story? Do you know that story, Romina?
Which story?
That cats used to actually rule over us at one point because they flipped the script to where, but humans, so cats used to rule the world. Then humans decided that we all are going to dream the same dream, and then we were able to take over. And the
Wait.
cats tried to take it back, but one cat decided that he liked his owner, and so he wouldn't betray us. And so all the cats couldn't dream the same dream, and so we get to keep reality. We get to keep human civilization because of that one cat that said, "No, this is my friend." Yeah,
So
that's
confused.
like no, it's actually an interesting story.
Okay.
It's why we have the Sphinx
Yes.
in Egypt. These are facts. Audrey,
Okay.
you should tune into the History Channel every once in a while. Culture yourself.
No, I
Was
know
there-
Sphinx.
Was there meant to be a sequel to E.T.? Like someone
I
in the
hope
chat
not.
someone's saying that there was a
Dunking
sequel that
on
was
E.T..
there. Someone says that there was supposed to be a sequel that was supposed to be
Scary.
yeah.
Scary for who? The humans or the ET? Because ET in itself was terrifying for ET. You know, he got stranded by his family. Here's what I think. I think they actually they left him there. They were like, "Listen, buddy, you just you don't make the cut," and then they just left him. They left him on Earth.
Maybe that's what's gonna happen to us, but they'll all come back and get it.
Barry says it was called ET Nocturnal Fears.
All right, I want to look into that.
I'm just sending pictures of ET right now to the private chat.
Wait,
Like-
you're sending me pictures?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, why are you sending me?
You
all
cannot
these
tell me
pictures?
that that's not terrifying. I mean, it's mind controlling this child.
Yeah,
Super
that's my
long
argument.
finger.
Well,
That's-
yeah, I mean that's what Roberto is saying. He's
Also-
saying that they'll take over because they pretend to be our friends, but then but then
And
they
also,
just
his brain must be like completely different. I don't like that at all.
Look at his
I don't-
cranium. It's like
I
his
know
brain
exactly.
is completely different.
It's like,
you guys are
Not
you
okay.
guys are the worst, man. Like ET's just
bullying
out
me.
here trying to fend for himself, just trying to make a life for himself for his potential family.
Mm.
And you guys want to rip him apart just because he looks a little different? Come on.
No,
Okay.
it's because he siphoned the life force from a child,
Yes, he's mind controlling a child right now.
and he
He is
telekinetically
Listen, if that's how you
completely-
want to see it,
like neutralized like the Secret Service. Like he like I mean, and if that wasn't terrifying enough, he was
wait.
able
So
to
why is it all right? So why is it okay when 11 does it and it's cool, but then
you're
when
the only
ET
one saying
does it-
that.
What do you mean? What? Are you telling me that it's not
I've never
that?
seen Stranger Things. I cannot comment.
Right, Audrey being
So there we're at an
diplomatic. Is this
Right.
Audrey calling the neutral? She's waving her white flag. She's like, not me.
Like, see, we're at an impasse there. But the thing is, we do agree. We have a majority on ETs being terrifying.
Yes. Let's get a vote in the chat.
Are we really? You know what? We need polls on YouTube. Roberto, can you? I don't know. Put in a word in and just tell them. Like, why don't we have polls?
That's you know what? They're actually eliminating that feature even from regular, let alone let alone lives, which I'm actually not a fan of. I'm like, can we just keep our polls, man? Like, but it'll stay. We'll have them in the community tab still. So that's like, but again, they're trying to cut resources. No, I think ETs are force sensitive, but I don't think they align with either Jedi or Sith ideology.
All right. For those of you who are listening and don't know why Roberto just completely changed topic, we got a question in the chat that is ET a Sith?
Yeah, no, ET is not a Sith or a Jedi because those are religious organizations, but ETs have clearly proven to be force sensitive and can use the force in ways that might be considered unnatural. And so they
Wait,
clearly,
but can't they be a part of? Can't they be a part of the religious organizations?
They theoretically could be, but they aren't. Like, and the thing is, the Sith often are.
Audrey, why are you laughing? These are serious conversations.
I was distracted for like 10 seconds and I come back and you're
Squirrel.
comparing ET to Siths now.
No, we're not comparing. We're deciding if he is
been,
one.
Oh.
There have been alien Sith Lords. They have been alien Sith Lords, but the Empire itself seems to preface humans and really put them above xenomorphs. So like they do not the Sith actually are really inclusive, and there have been a lot of alien Sith Lords. Darth Plagueis was an alien, and so was his master before him, and so on and so forth. I mean, so the Sith are kind of inclusive, but the ETs were not part of the order of Sith Lords, based on my understanding in the lineage of Darth Bane, as my as your resident Star Wars historian here. So that's so no, the ETs, they clearly can use the Force, and we should be terrified.
I agree.
Really, Audrey? You agree?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But the question, the topic of the hour here is time travel. And the reason that this was brought up, the reason that we wanted to bring it up is because it was brought up last Thursday after we got off our live stream. Audrey mentioned that she opened up a time capsule. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about this time capsule? When did you put it in and all that stuff?
So basically, my parents put this together like before I was born, because I was born in 1999. So it was really popular at the time to do time capsules because they
turn
thought
of the century,
the world was going to end or something. So a lot of, I was supposed to open it on my 25th birthday, but my mom decided 21st sounded better. So I don't know why 25th was originally chosen. But yeah, it was
25 years, quarter century,
Oh yeah, I guess, yeah. But there's a lot of stuff in there, like it was pretty interesting because she put stuff that she thought would be interesting, like 25 years in the future. So like she put an old phone and like some cool stuff in there. And then there's a bunch of letters from like family members and stuff about
you didn't mention the Teletubby.
And this.
Teletubby.
The worst eyes I've ever seen. Like for people listening, they melted in the time capsule, so
that's horrifying.
It is the scariest Teletubby I have ever seen in my entire existence.
So here's the thing. I wonder what it says about any of the items in that time capsule that they survived 21 years.
Wait, I'm gonna go get it. Okay.
Like the fact that any of this stuff survived 20 years. Like, I mean, just wow. You know?
Well, also it was somewhat in a controlled environment.
Even so.
You know.
Even
Wow,
so.
is that it, Audrey?
Wait, I can't hear you.
Oh, she can't hear us. So
Yeah.
Audrey just pulled up. For those of you who are listening, you should definitely tune in live with us every Thursday at 8 p.m. ish Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, and it's youtube.com/noassemblypod. And Audrey just pulled out the time capsule on camera right now, and she's showing us a phone. You want to tell us what you want to describe everything?
No,
Audrey?
it'll take, like, a lot of it is letters from my family.
Okay.
I did get what are these called?
Beanie Baby?
Yes.
What are these called?
Yeah.
I'm crying.
Okay, eyes are intact.
I'm crying.
I got this. My mom put her old phone in here that I've literally already lost the antenna.
Oh, I love those buttons.
But I want to figure out a way to make it work again. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, there's literally just a bunch of like letters, some socks from when I was a baby.
Show us the socks.
They survived.
Oh, that looks like the sock that got stuck on Kitty. Remember in Monsters Inc?
Give me a VHS of the
What
best
is this?
song of that year of 1999.
What movie is this? I can't.
The
I
title.
can't tell.
Shakespeare
It's on the top.
in Love.
Shakespeare in Love.
Shakespeare in Love. Oh man.
Man.
Why did she put that in there? Did she like the movie?
I think it was the best one of that year or something.
Yeah, I think it did win Movie of the Year back in 1999, now that you mention it, or something like that, or got some kind of award.
I'm worried about the world ending, like in the 2000s.
So, and Y2K brochure.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
It sounds so dumb now because they're like,
You know, I hate
what
to say
happens
it.
if the computers like reboot or something?
Y2K was my first real experience with being absurdly wrong about something.
Did you think something bad was gonna happen?
Yeah, I was almost certain it was like, yeah, this is the thing that's gonna happen, and it's like, yeah, bring it on. And
Well, it was supposed to happen in 2012, but I think it's happening in 2020.
I didn't believe in 2012 at all. I didn't believe in the 2012. I was like, no, this isn't. But like, oh, and then we find out that the Mayan kind of like messed up, and we read it wrong.
Yeah.
And it's 2021. It's like, hey there. And see, we're all the way. We're right on schedule.
We're taking that path.
We're right on schedule and everything like that. Bring on the doom.
Doom, 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 doom,
Doom,
doom,
doom, doom. Time to sing the doom song.
doom, doom.
Yeah, for all of you who
Audrey's
remember.
got no idea.
Does Audrey remember what that show is? Like, do you even know what we're talking about?
Audrey, do you know the Doom song? Oh, that's sad.
Invader Zim. She does not know.
I just accept.
You sweet summer child. You do not know of Invader Zim. I would understand
Audrey,
her not
I'm gonna
knowing
give
about
you
Rocco's Modern Life, but Invader Zim. Oh my lord.
Audrey, I'm going to give you the premise for Invader Zim. Invader Zim is about an alien who is looking for the approval of his species, right, in outer space. He's
And
looking
they're all
for the
called
approval of his
invaders.
species, and
Yeah,
they're all
the
invaders.
They're the Urkin invaders. All they do is conquer other worlds, and
Right.
he's bad at it.
And he's bad at a lot of things. And so basically they sent him on his assignment to Earth.
Well, you have
But
to
they
preface
didn't really
why
want it
or
to be
how
a
he's
real
so bad at
assignment.
this. Wait, you have to tell the story, Ravita.
Wait, but I'm just giving her a small synopsis.
He's so
It
bad
needs
of
to
an
be
invader.
bite-sized.
He's so bad
You're
an
giving
invader.
her details, though.
He's so bad of an invader that literally he goes ahead and starts massacring before he's even left and launched to the other planet. He's already just started deciding to conquer the planet that he's actually already a part of, because he's like, it's like, you haven't launched and gone to wherever yet. He's like, shut up, and he's just going to town. That's how bad of an invader he is. He doesn't even wait to get to the other planet to start jacking stuff up.
Sounds
Right.
like a great
So
guy.
basically, his people decided to send him to Earth because they're like, yeah, whatever. There's your assignment. Get out of here. We just don't want you. And so he goes to Earth, and he enrolls in a school, like a regular human Earth school, and he's undercover as a human, but very badly, as there is a kid who is he's pretty goth, and he's very like he's a conspiracy theorist, but he knows that Zim is an alien, and then he's trying to take over the world, and nobody takes him seriously because, of course, Zim is horrible. So it's really great. It's hilarious. It's really funny. Have you seen
and the Doom
Enter
song
the
is because his stupid robot assistant called
is
Gurr.
his dog.
Essentially it's his dog, or that's his or that's the disguise that it has, but it's called Gurr. Everybody else gets a Sir unit, and it's like super serious, and it's like, and it can do all kinds of cool stuff. His is defective because like instead of having a legit AI brain, didn't they put like some leftover scrap food in his for a brain in his like unit or whatever, and it's like. So
what?
he's Gurr. Like they gave him a crappy assignment to a planet that they didn't care about. They just like threw a dart at the map, and they also gave him like the crappiest robot, and they just was like, oh, let's just hope he flies into a black hole and we don't have to deal with him anymore. Like it's so bad. It's so good, but it's so bad. It's like
Netflix came out with an original series, Enter the Florpus. Did you watch it?
I did.
Because it's really, really great animation. Like the opening sequence is just so good. Like really, really great artwork. But it's really fun. But so this whole time capsule conversation, I think we started to talk about time travel.
Yes.
And then Roberto mentioned that time traveling was a privilege. And then we decided to cut the conversation short and leave it for you guys, who are listening. So I'm not really sure where we were headed with all of that.
We were a privilege.
Well, no, it's because like, all right, for everybody on this podcast, we can't go back in time more than 30 or 50 years without it becoming absolutely horrible for us. Some of us less than that. Like me and Romina go back any more than 30 years and our lives get incrementally worse. Like we go back beyond when we were born, and it doesn't get it's not equally good or better for us.
Audrey,
there's no
too.
fun times. Audrey goes back any more than 30, 50 years, like about 30. Actually, about 30 years. You go back anywhere 30 years plus, Audrey. Beyond that, it's not fun for you at all. Huh?
Yeah, you're stuck. You gotta just go to the future, man.
Yeah, there's like nobody on this podcast can go backwards in time and it be fun for them, like at all. There's no way. That was the gift. That's the joke. That's the bit.
Unless you go super, super duper, 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 duper far.
No, because then we're all witches burned at the stake. I mean, unless we go back with a whole lot.
Hey, I'd rather die a witch.
No. Like, here's the thing. Unless you convince them, unless you pull. It's
my choice, Roberto, if I want to be a witch.
If you go back in time, here's how I would do it. And I'm stealing this bit from a book that I read, by the way. So if I go back in time, and they say he's a witch, and they start to try to mob up on me, I go, how dare you? I'm a man. And then they go, what? And I'm go, you called me a witch. That is a female. I am a man, sir. How dare you? Do you mean to call me a warlock? And then they'll pause and they'll go, okay, he's a warlock. Yes, we agree. He's a warlock. So that's why we want to burn him. It's like, wait. So you believe me to be a warlock? Yes. I was like, all right, I understand your terror. Because a warlock is a terrible, terrible, monstrous entity that can control the seas, can burn the fields, cause plagues, could literally rip your souls from your bodies, could cast an entire plague on your community, could rain down fire and brimstone with just an utterance. So I understand why you would be afraid of a warlock. I could not be as brave as any of you to challenge such an all-powerful being.
Wait, why is this hypothetical situation still happening?
Because at that point, they realized they'd made a terrible mistake, and that, I'm not so brave as to challenge an all-powerful warlock. And so I'm not. I've rethought my position here, and I'm gonna go home now.
So I think the point is, if when time travel becomes a luxury.
When?
Yeah, Audrey, don't you think time travel will be a thing?
Yes. Because
All right, okay.
physics.
Tell us, okay, do you really think that time travel will be possible at
Yeah,
some
because
point?
isn't it like? I mean, I don't know too much about physics, so I don't want to dig myself into a hole right now. But I don't know. I feel like doesn't time pass differently if you go like different speeds and stuff.
So the thing is, there are dark
I don't know how
matter
to
already.
explain this.
I
Dark matter.
want Audrey to go to
Let me
school
just go
and become a scientist.
Dark matter particles already can do that and pass through time in a non-linear fashion. And so, like, for those dark matter particles, time travel is not theoretical, it's already happened. So we already understand that time travel already is something that is real. The thing is, we haven't been able to harness it. Our material science hasn't caught up, and basically the problem with time travel in the hands of human beings, just like anything else, is we'll just weaponize it. And
Yay.
so the thing is, if time travel is the material science for time travel is possible in the far-flung future, they've already regulated it and put the kibosh on it, and they probably only just use it as a window into the past, because beyond using it as a window into the one true past, at least of your current universe, other than that, it fragments because the many worlds interpretation of time into a reality that you can't even perceive because it's fragmented. It's like looking through a prism. So there's no way to see into the future because the future isn't absolute because of the many worlds interpretation of time of the infinite worlds. So there's only a window backwards in time to the one true past of your current experiences, the past that brought you to the version of reality that you currently have. The problem is that if you do anything to affect that past, then you negate this, or you cause another branching thing, which then wouldn't matter to this because of the many worlds. So it'd be outlawed. It'd be outlawed for anything but viewing window. And then the thing is, access to that past and that information and knowledge would probably be heavily regulated. So that's my thought.
What about those like telescopes that take pictures of stuff that happened like billions of years ago?
Again, that's just because we're seeing it because, I mean, you could almost refer to it as a visual echo, but it's just, again, the same fact of like the starlight that we see every night when we look up. For many of those stars are long dead for some of them.
Yeah.
It's how long that light took to reach us.
You're looking at corpses in the sky, Audrey.
Oh my god.
You are on this cold floating graveyard in a dark universe that cares nothing for you.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have a friend who showed me a video of, there's like this theory. If you look at pictures of stars and you zoom in real good, they're all faces.
But
they all look like faces.
What about the face on Mars?
Is it E.T.'s face?
No, you don't
Probably
remember
is.
do a Google search. Do a Google search, and you can even pull it up if you want, Romina, on the screen here with a screen share. But the face on Mars is
pretty terrifying.
There's like these satellite images back in the 90s when I was a kid. When I was a kid in the 90s, when you were just born, like Audrey, I used to, every morning they used to like talk about extraterrestrials, and they used to talk about the faces on Mars, pyramids on Mars. They used to show us these images from the satellites, and it was like, yeah, that's like, the thing is, back in the 90s, we pretty much had a consensus that aliens existed.
Why'd people change their minds?
I'm not sure, but it was like, it wasn't kooky. People just we all were like, yep, there probably used to be an alien civilization on Mars, or they're out there and they visit us, and like it was kind of like again, I was a kid and I remember people being like, "Yep."
Wow, that's pretty creepy face.
Yeah. I mean, guys, those of you who are watching the live stream instead of the audio podcast, if you look at that, and that's satellite imagery, are you like, are we like, do we
Kinda
really
looks
just
like a
think that this,
transformer.
and yeah, a lot of you saw this, like, funny, it used to actually come up on the commercials on the Sci-Fi Channel when I would watch Transformers in the morning before going to school when I was with the
Oh my
babysitter.
God.
I'm not even joking. But like, guys, those of you watching the live stream or watching the replay, you look at this, and remember, this is satellite imagery that we had back in the late 80s and early 90s and stuff like that. I mean, this is why it wasn't considered crazy back then or kooky. This is like legit. Like,
I feel like people in the late 90s were believing a whole lot of stuff with the world ending, aliens.
Aside from that, we actually had very rational discussions, and we weren't nearly as radical or unreasonable or extreme in our beliefs in the 90s, believe it or not, as now. The 90s was less polarizing than it is today. People had a lot. I remember as a smart kid, literally just listened to people civilly disagree in the 90s. And I remember that people were very open-minded in the 90s about a lot of things. Maybe not the things that they should have been open-minded about, mind you. But in terms of the extraordinary and of science, there was a lot that people were just like, okay, maybe that's a thing. They would entertain the idea.
Maybe, and this, I feel like part of the problem is there's too many experts in quotations on social media.
True.
Well,
and I think it kind of
you
deafens.
think that breeds the opposite extreme of then skeptics?
Yeah. I think it deafens the voice of actual experts.
I agree with you, because the reality is that the more entertaining a person is on social media, that attention is leveraged as authority rather than intelligence, expertise, or merit being leveraged as authority. Attention is where people's credibility lies. It's the thesis of social proof. It's why the problem, even in our current pandemic, populists get more attention than scientists. Populists get more respect than scientists. That's the problem of our entire society right now, is that populists get listened to instead of scientists.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a sad reality, which is why time travel can't come soon enough, so that I can just go to 300 years in the future when Starfleet has been established.
Well,
Wow.
you realize that everybody 300 years in the
Prime,
future,
Romina.
you realize that like you're super smart here in this current time, but you'll feel really, really dumb 300 years in the future where everybody's...
Hey, I'm okay
Everyone's
with
gonna
that.
have like brain
Roberto.
implants by then.
I don't need to be the smartest one. You know what I'm saying?
It'll be like Idiocracy.
No, please, God, no. We're already living through that.
No, but
Why-
we now are like the dumb ones then. If you look at 3,000 years in the future.
Well, no.
Oh, you mean if they go back in time?
Yeah. Like we would be the equivalent of the...
Oh yeah, if they go back in time, they'll be like, "What were these idiots doing?" Oh
Well, I
yeah, they
feel
were
that's
making
how-
memes.
Especially now.
Well, that's even how
They were
the
making
aliens...
memes instead of robots. That's what they were doing.
The aliens already feel that way about us. They're like the aliens already feel is like, it's like, all right, what are these what are the primates doing today? And they're like they're judging us, and they're like, and they're judging us. They're looking down their alien noses at us and everything like that. Like, what are these poor sons of bitches up to today?
I feel like there's definitely some like alien colony or something out there that just monitors all the...
I think that
like,
they started
primitive
getting
planets,
nervous when we
and we're
started
on that
playing
list.
around with when we started playing around with nuclear fission, and they're like, all right, the primates have the nukes. Like
They're
what,
like,
what are,
They
what-
got
all
the
right.
nuke.
all right, and they
We're done
haven't
here.
and they haven't blown themselves up yet. And it's like,
Maybe they intervened.
maybe they have. I don't doubt that. To be honest with you, I don't doubt that. And again, if you listen to the astronauts that have made their deathbed confessions that have gone up there to the moon, they're like, hey. And again, you have to
7-Eleven
wonder
up there.
why we haven't gone back. You have to wonder, now that we actually have good cameras, why we haven't gone back up to the moon in all this time. You have to wonder, now that we have
It's
good
scary up there,
cameras
man.
and real-time transmissions and we can have live streams, why don't we go back up
They
there?
should set up a live stream camera and just let it roll. We'll catch the aliens.
But we don't do
in
that,
the-
and we don't send.
Wild.
Think about it. We send
Aliens.
rovers. We send rovers to Mars. We don't send no rovers up to the moon, which tells me something. Because then,
Maybe they got angry that we were trespassing.
look, according to, if you listen to the deathbed confessions of some of these astronauts and you listen to what they say and everything like that, when they went up there was multiple different types of craft up there. And it was like they were seeing, well, what are y'all doing? It's like, what are y'all up to? And if you listen to the military about their encounters with extraordinary craft that they can't identify, that we have radar documentation of, a lot of times it's been around. I mean, think about it. The Iranian government actually has multiple instances where they thought they were like, is the U.S. doing something or whatever? Because they're here at our nuclear site and everything like that. And then they sent their fighter jets up, and it was like nothing they'd ever experienced. And again, they have every reason to want to. The way they're like, is this the U.S. and some experimental craft? It's like no, but everything in their thing screams extraterrestrial, and they don't have a reason to make that up. And they don't have a cultural fascination with that stuff to make that up if you think about it. So there's no, you see what I'm saying? There's no reason for them to go there and to describe the experience. There's no upside for them to make it up.
Right.
So when I look into those things, I'm like, okay, something is happening. And again, I just, for funsies, it's like, oh, well, of course it's aliens. But again, I have a healthy amount of skepticism about some things, but I'm like, I have no reason to believe that we're alone in this universe. Mathematically, that makes no sense. And it's more plausible that even if it's not beings within our own galaxy, I have no reason not to think that interdimensional beings or interdimensional travel isn't a thing. I have no reason to not entertain that.
Yeah. In Isaac Asimov wrote a book about this. It's called The End of Eternity.
Fun.
And the premise behind The End of Eternity is that there's this group of people, like a committee. They are in charge of going through different timelines in order to make sure that certain events happen to ensure the eternity of
the continuity. Yeah, to like, okay, we got to make sure
so that people keep so that there are still people,
preserve humanity. Yeah,
right, to preserve humanity.
The
technology was developed for that.
It's similar to his Foundation series about the idea of the Foundation to was it to reduce or was it to end human suffering? I forgot what it was. The Foundation to, but anyway, it makes me believe that when Hank Green made his charity, the Foundation to End World Suck, it feels like he was trying to make a millennial joke that is secretly about Asimov, because it seems to me he would be the type who reads Asimov.
So Isaac Asimov is one of the big three in science fiction. Audrey, in case you didn't know.
Who are the other two?
I didn't know that one.
Who are the other two?
I believe it's Arthur C. Clarke. And I'm blanking out right now. I know who the other one is. I'm just blanking out at the moment. But there's three of them who are supposed to be like the big three because they basically established what
Wait,
it
do you
is
want to
that
say Jules Verne?
No, it's not Jules Verne.
Okay. Well, Isaac Asimov, the interesting thing is almost everything in Isaac Asimov's science fiction has so far become science fact. Our material science has caught up with his fantasies.
It's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Oh, Robert Heinlein.
Robert Heinlein. Okay. What did he write?
He did Strangers in a Strange Land. Let's see. I'm sure there's other ones.
Minus flying cars, we basically, and hoverboards, we have everything from Back to the Future at this point.
Starship Troopers.
Ah,
The moon is a harsh mistress. So this is all rubber. Hyman. So
I recognize the name Jules Verne, but he was the guy who like went to the middle of the earth or something, or ocean, right? I remember that book. I don't know which one that was. Because I
actually
only
don't
read it
know.
in French.
do you guys believe in the zookeeper theory? It's the idea that we're
A zoo.
all
The aliens
that,
are our
that
keepers.
Earth is an exhibit in basically an alien zoo. Earth is an exhibit. This is a preserve. This is a game preserve, and we're all just like here and there.
I mean, I think they're definitely watching to make sure we don't, or maybe they don't care. They're just kind of.
I think
here's
sometimes
my
observing from
idea.
if this is a
my-
game preserve, but they're like trying to let us do our natural thing, they draw the line at letting us nuke ourselves.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
What about Prison Planet? So the theory that they actually sent us here because it was meant to just be a prison, kind of like how they used to send prisoners
Like a
to
penal
Australia.
colony like Australia.
Yeah.
Here's my theory on that. It's because we are galactic boogeymen. Because, like, I used to read Animorphs as a kid, right? Which was literally about Earth being a battleground primarily somewhat between two species. We had basically pod people called the Yeerks, these slugs that crawl into your head and take over your brain and make you a host body. But there's a smaller populated group of very advanced scientific warrior aliens called the Andalites, which are basically centaurs with blade tails and telepathy.
Oh my god!
And they have the power to shapeshift into animal species that they acquire the DNA of, including humans. And so we were caught up in a little bit of a war between the Yeerks and the Andalites because we are considered a class 1 species, meaning we have a great genetic advantages and we are a high population and we breed easily, right? And so there are very few class 1 species in the galaxy. That being said, the thing that's insidious about this is I thought about this, and the thing is, the thing that the Yeerks, when they first surveyed our planet, found terrifying is our capacity for war, because all the other species in the galaxy have literally only fought about a half a dozen wars between them, especially for their own species. Most species decide to preserve themselves, so they don't do any infighting. And even when they fight each other, they don't do wars of annihilation usually, because that seems counterproductive. Every other intelligent species has decided that war isn't really that practical for the most part, at least not total war. We aren't like that. We are savages. We are savage AF. And so they were terrified initially somewhat of us because they're like, look, we know that the humans are intellectually inferior, but that's what makes them scary and dangerous. They're emotional, they're irrational, and they're savages. We've only ever fought a handful of wars. They fought thousands of them. We would never entertain the idea of destroying our entire species. They do it for over pettiness. It's like we mock them for their little inferior firearms, but there are 7 billion of them. They could miss 30 times and still wipe us out. There's it was like they went into this whole diatribe of why we're terrifying, and then they decided that they couldn't come in here with hostile, invade, and fight us head on because they'd still lose even with superior technology just because we're savage. And so their idea was peace, like infiltration and subjugation instead, and so that was the route of conquest that they chose because they were terrified of us. My theory about the prison plant theory is that we are galactic boogeymen. We are the most vicious, brutal, violent thing the galaxy has ever seen, and they basically need to quarantine us here to preserve everything else in the galaxy, because if we go outside of our solar system, we're gonna wreck their shit. That's my thought. That's like they're like, just quarantine them to that solar system over yonder, and no one retreat on site orders from humans. Earth is where things go to die.
Wow.
That's my theory.
Do you guys think that all countries one day are gonna combine,
Combine how?
or just like
You mean in a federation?
I don't know, just have an
What,
agreement to not
Starfleet?
blow each other up, but like actually be one thing, and still have like different cultures and stuff, but in different regions, but not like countries that are
Right, like a unified global economy.
yeah.
So
established
after
with
I
Star Trek.
conquer Earth, I will do it as my mentor Alexander the Great intended. Everyone
Oh
can
my
keep their own culture and customs and banners, but you adhere to the rules of the Empire first and foremost.
So
And
we're all doomed.
no, it'll be great. It'll be glorious because you have a pragmatic leader who only wants to build an operating system and walk away because the operating system will handle everything else. You see, you actually will have an emperor that it's not that I want this power, it's that I have to take responsibility. And then I will build you the great operating system that will handle everything, and I will walk away because the software be praised. Software be praised. And so, yes.
So what's gonna? I mean, after we have this amazing paradise that you've built for us, Roberto, what's gonna happen to the penal colony?
Earth OS version 1.
What's gonna happen to the penal colony?
Well, see, after we've consolidated the desires of humanity and ensured our own self-preservation, we'll take our rightful place in the galaxy and conquer the stars. And all will bow before the might of the human empire. And so to our alien watchers out there and everything like that, to our alien watchers over there and everything like that, it's
To our
like
alien
our time is coming. Humanity will rise up once again, and then we will conquer the galaxy as we intended, and then we will have peace.
Maybe we do have alien watchers.
Yeah, no, I'm putting our watchers on
Our
notice.
listeners.
It's like humanity will once again, the humans will rise and we will conquer the galaxy.
If everyone
And
unsubscribes, then we know
will have peace.
they're all aliens.
Yeah, don't if you are not an alien, and if you are an alien, give this podcast 5 stars on whatever platform you decide to tune into.
Humanity first.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Someone just came back after all that and has no idea
Yeah,
what's
I
going
mean,
on.
that was I feel like that was art, basically. It was like a performance piece. And
Yeah, no. I
People
mean,
are going to refer to this in like 50 years or 100 years and be like, wow, they predicted the future on that podcast.
Yeah, they might actually go back in time and rescue us from this timeline that we're stuck in.
Oh, the darkest
From Roberto.
timeline?
Yeah, the
No, they'll go back in time and ensure my victory. Like,
Oh my God.
no, the purpose of the darkest timeline was to clear the path for my ascension. Joking, I'm being facetious here, but it's like, but I do think good will come out of this darkest timeline. Like, I mean, this seems like kind of like an Avengers where it's like Thanos had to win in order to get the one scenario where he can lose.
It's basically like the year of
It's
hell.
like that.
It's the year of hell.
Well, I blame the Winchesters. You guys never watched Supernatural? It's like, no, I blame the Winchesters. They opened the Hellmouth. We're like,
I watched Supernatural.
okay, yeah. So I blame the Winchesters.
like a
It's like,
season.
yeah, Sam and Dean dropped the ball. That's why we're going through this right now.
Yeah, there's a episode. Well, there's this time period in Voyager that's referenced, which is called the Year of Hell. And it's actually,
Nice.
it was supposed to get its own spin-off. Like, it was supposed to get its entire own show because it's actually really great writing. But yeah, this is the Year of Hell that we're doing right now. And someone's going to go back in time and something's going to happen. I guarantee it. 2020
You're
is
saying
not
a
going to
time
remain like
traveler
this.
is going to come save us?
Time traveler is going to come back in time And I don't know if they're going to save us.
Our only
but-
hope is time travelers.
Well, I mean, no,
Sounded
there
pretty
is
well.
a time traveler. What is his name? I forgot what his name is, but he did come up.
Trevor something, wasn't it? Trevor
Yeah.
something or Trenton
Wait,
something?
what?
Right, yeah.
How
This
do you
is like-
prove it?
Wasn't like half of his predictions, but again, the predictions that he didn't get right could theoretically be explained by either his own intervention or the many worlds interpretation of time.
What is this?
Wait, how
I
does
think it's
one
Trevor. I'm gonna
declare
look
that
it
they're
up.
a time travel?
Okay, you're looking
Like,
it up.
I'm
was
trying to find it.
but- No, it's not. It's not your
Or Trenton
your
or something. It's like the real life time traveler.
traveler. Yeah, he's from.
John Tritter. John Titter or Titter.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, that's like
Right.
Did he just
that's
appear
it.
out of nowhere?
Yeah, John Titor.
Yeah,
It's like
John
yeah,
Titor. He just appeared out of nowhere. He started posting on like forums online.
2000
talking-
and 2001. Yeah.
Right.
So he had
Said
no
he came
like
from,
childhood.
but see, the
or
thing is, he
anything?
came from 2036 allegedly.
And the thing is that he only talked about he was only around for like a couple years, and he hasn't been back since.
What do you
He's
mean
just like
back?
I'm
He's-
like,
he's
well, I
dead.
mean, he disappeared. Like nobody's heard from him ever
Like
again.
literally. Yeah.
And the thing is that this
What?
guy, he comes up and he shows
They could
people the
not- and
schematics
they
for his
could
time
not-
machine.
They could not find anything to ID him or to identify him before his appearance. Like they literally could not. They're nothing. No database, nothing. Like for real.
So here's the story behind him, Audrey. He claimed to be an American soldier from 2036 based in Tampa, Florida. He was assigned to a governmental time travel project and sent back to 1975 to retrieve an IBM 5100 computer, which he said was needed to debug various legacy computer programs in 2036.
Okay. So why was he there in 2000?
And then he claimed to be on a stopover in the year 2000 for personal reasons, to collect pictures lost in the future Civil War, to visit his family, of whom he spoke often. So he insinuated that there would be a civil war in the future.
Dum dum dum.
And that he had
Oh,
gone
that's
back
not
in
feasible
time.
at all. That's not feasible at all.
That's
And that
not
he had
good.
gone back in time to get photos from his family that had been lost during the Civil War, which happens in the future.
Yeah. Oh,
And this was
again,
20
he's
years
only,
ago that he says
and
this.
he's only 16 years. He's only from 16 years in our current future. So let's review, kiddies. Let's review, queries. So 2036, he's saying we are having all kinds of technological difficulties, and that our technology platforms weren't scalable, and that it's a mess. And I'm assuming that that's a governmental issue, and that we had a civil war, and this is all 16 years in the future. So let's review. Our current systems for medical and across all of our state governments don't run on the same code base, you guys. I know this as someone who is in web development and web hosting. It's why you can't have you don't have universal health records when you go to a new doctor's office. They can't just pull out everything. If you move states, your records aren't just magically there. It's like because no one is using the same code base, no one's using the same database architecture. Some people are running old versions of like COBOL and this one and that one. Other people have upgraded to Python. Some people are using Cold Fusion. There's like all these different websites. And the thing is, if you've ever tried to sign up for the healthcare marketplace, you see like you've experienced the shitty government. Every website the government makes is a shit show. Okay, you guys have all experienced it. There's no uniformity. So are you guys really shocked that we have an unstable architecture, and that 16 years from now that our geriatric jerks governing us haven't decided to, I don't know, get somebody who's tech savvy to actually fix the problem? You don't think it will just persist for 16 more years? So, seems about right. if he's coming from 2036. Oh, a civil war. I can't imagine how we would have that 10 to 15 years from now. I can't imagine what could possibly be the spark for the tinderbox for that impetus. Can't imagine. So, yeah. That's where we're
Another
at.
thing that he also insinuated was that UFOs and extraterrestrials were actually time travelers from a much further future than him, who were traveling back in time. Which is also an interesting theory as well.
Especially since this year our government decided to say, yeah, there are UFOs. We're not saying they're aliens, but there are identified flying objects that we have records of and photos of.
Why don't they say hi?
Huh?
Why don't these aliens from the future come say hi?
Have you taken a look? Have you taken a look?
Do you know anything
know.
about temporal? Do you know anything? Audrey,
True, I guess.
No, forget that. Forget that, Romina.
When was the last time you saw Back to the
This
Future?
dude said hi.
Well, Romina, Audrey, think about it. If you are from a further future, I mean, think about it. Like, if we went back in time and we go and we absorb any of the warring civilizations, a couple of hundred years, couple of thousand years and everything, we gotta go back, shake our head and go, savages. So uncivilized, uncouth. It's like, remember, and by remember, we already said that for everyone on this panel, going back in time would suck and that it's like a bad experience for us. So think about anybody from further in the future. Maybe that's universally true for them. Maybe going back in time, they're other and they're like, nah, fam. You go back any more than 50 years, it's a shit show. Think about it. We just explained why going back in time sucks.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, well, the thing is,
then why'd this guy be
he was anonymous.
who
He's on a mission.
I don't know, but I guess like when you're talking about the Back to the Future stuff, like you can't mess with the past, but this guy did. So,
maybe it was part of what he was doing. Maybe if he didn't do it, then time travel wouldn't have been invented in the time period that he's in.
Ooh.
And he wouldn't have been able to go back in time.
So we planted the seed to get people to start working on it now.
Well, I mean, he posted the schematics for his time machine. He showed people.
It's kind of like John Connor and the Terminator. The technology to make the Terminators was a result of the Terminators coming back in time to go kill Sarah Connor, and the John Connor being born is a result of the Resistance sending somebody back in time to protect her. It's like it's a paradox, so to speak.
I need to look up this John dude.
Yeah, John Titor with a O.
I'm gonna show on the
Titor. John Titor, I think.
I'm gonna show on the camera now. So this is what his time machine supposedly looks like, right? So here's a photo. He showed like a diagram of it, right? So I don't quite know how this would, I mean, it doesn't, I guess he would get inside of it or he would tie himself. I don't know how this would work.
It would create, in my opinion, it would create a displacement field.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Oh, by the way, this is his insignia, supposedly, from his branch, military branch. Which is also very interesting.
What if this dude just made all this?
Well, here's the thing. For someone who's making it up, it's
pretty specific.
Pretty much on track.
It's very detailed. I mean, like this logo looks very, it's a nice logo, you know? Like who would...
Has anyone tried making that thing?
The time machine?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't know if it has all of the components.
Think about
it. We've already, guys, you do know that we've already actually successfully accomplished teleportation. It was with gas particles.
What?
We accomplished teleportation with gas particles. Yeah, no, seriously, we already did it. Like Romina, bring up the document. Like you can find it in Google. We already successfully teleported gas particles. We already did it.
Like, why aren't people talking about this stuff? This is my
Because they'd rather talk about Jake Paul. They'd rather
Because they
talk
don't
about
get the clicks. They
Well,
don't.
I feel like if you're like, oh, we've invented teleportation, people might care a little bit.
no, like we literally have like we've created teleportation. We found out that silicon-based life forms aren't the only life forms. We found carbon-based. Carbon-based life forms are not the.
What?
I reversed that. Carbon-based life forms aren't the only life forms anymore. We figured out that there are silicon-based life forms in the
Yep.
extreme temperatures of volcanoes. So we literally can't say that, oh, something has to be a carbon-based life form. Our entire understanding has now shifted and changed. That was 3 years ago that we figured that out, and nobody's talking about that.
Well, actually, Star Trek actually figured it out in the 1960s with an episode in the original series where they
But now we've
argued that a
confirmed.
silicon-based life form had rights.
Well, we confirm that they even exist now. And so like that's and so okay, our understanding of what's possible now that we know that, we've literally discovered giant squids, like literally krakens at this point. But again, you know what sells? Did Trump sleep with a hooker? Did James Charles do this or that and everything like that? Oh, what is like Tati up to?
Who's
That
marrying
is-
who?
like what Jake Paul do, like 40 million freaking views on that and everything like that. You literally like nothing about the UFOs got even close to any of the YouTube drama in terms of views. Not even close.
Sure.
There's definitely something there regarding gossip, and I mean that's really what it comes down to, like making it so that true life.
I literally
just as
don't think a
interesting.
modern alien autopsy would get the same views as if James Charles has another like cancel moment. I'm not even I'm being dead serious. I'm being dead ass serious. I'm like, and that's the travesty. Literally, that's why someone theoretically could probably begin to make the moves required to actually conquer the world in terms of economic conquest, not in a bloody war, not even in a fight for political power, but literally through economic leverage, plant the beginnings of the seeds to actually straight up run the world and do it through a series of shell corporations, and no one would be the wiser because they'll be too busy being entertained or figuring out how to get cheap dopamine.
I think that was the premise of Idiocracy.
Yes.
But well,
Ooh,
but like no one smart was actually in charge, like in a shadowy kind of like, I'm talking literally about some Machiavellian Hunger Games level, like corporate overlord
Yeah.
just deciding, I got you, and what are you gonna do about it? Because all of you work for
Google.
me. Conglomerates, like Rocco's Modern Life. Conglomerates, we own you, like, but for real this time.
That's the best slogan. We own you, but for real this
For
time.
real this time.
Yeah.
It's kind of catchy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It would be. And it's like, you should be really, really concerned that that's really true. Like, I mean, think about it. If, as much as we may have our reservations about how our governments operate, if our governments fail, the power vacuum won't be filled by we, the people and the citizens. I mean, we literally can't even agree on anything, like at all in any meaningful way. And then the collective leverage of the 99% doesn't even mount up to like the bottom of the 0.1. Like the brokest person in the 0.1% is so absurdly rich that 99% of us combined still aren't worth one of them financially. They have all of the economic leverage, all of the access to the resources, the tools, the technology to fill that power gap. It would never be filled by the people, and the people don't even want it as much as they talk about it. They don't want it because all we want is cheap dopamine. We want prices low, we want food plentiful, and we want to be entertained. And as long as that is supplied and guaranteed and insured, we, as much as we talk crap about it, we don't really care who's in charge.
Well,
As long as we're comfortable. As long as we're comfortable. I'll be very real with you. That's true. I mean, where's the lie? I mean, does anyone disagree? Really, honestly. I mean, if you do, that's fine. I'm just saying.
it's a sad truth.
I literally believe that if the corporations took over 2, 4, 10 years from now, people would be like, well, at least they're efficient because, like, hey, my taxes didn't go up, and, like, hey, stuff's cheaper now. Like, freaking Amazon got me same hour delivery because no one told them they couldn't use the drones anymore. And are we really gonna fight that? Are we gonna fight that? No, probably not. Like I don't leave my house. I buy something. It's here in an hour. No one's gonna fight that. They're gonna be happy about it. They're gonna be comfortable. Oh, I literally can have affordable gourmet meals delivered to my house. Like, no one's gonna be like, it's like, oh, I have a personal service droid. No one's gonna like, no one's gonna be like, it's like, oh,
This is literally idiocracy, though. It's kind of scary.
a little bit. It's more like iRobot, to be honest. It's more like iRobot. I mean, it's closer to that. It's closer to that. And actually, what it really is, it's a show I think is still on Netflix called Continuum. It's called Continuum, and it's literally the corporations take over, and there's the corporate Congress, and it's literally conglomerates that run everything. And it starts with them deciding that something happened, and basically we didn't want to pay taxes, so all of the police and the military became privatized, and so that was kind of the beginning of it because we didn't want to pay taxes anymore. And so they're like, okay, cool. The 0.1%, we'll foot the bill for everything. You guys go on about your business. But since we pay for it, we decide how it runs. And it just went from there. And it just became more of them saying, and here's the thing. As long as you were a law-abiding citizen, it's like, it looks very attractive. It's like, but can't pay your bills? It goes sideways real quickly. Like, they bring back debtors' prisons, basically. It's like they bring back workhouses and everything like that. It's just very... But the thing is, I don't know that we would actually go there, because the thing is, Continuum didn't really account for AI and automation.
Yeah.
It acted as if
I was
human
just
labor...
gonna say, it was like all humans.
Yeah, so I'm like, nah, fam. We wouldn't have labor camps and
But
debtors'
it was
prisons
pretty
because...
good. It was pretty good, though. It was pretty good. I mean, I didn't watch all of it. I kind of dropped off after a while.
Oh, what? Finish it. Trust me, finish it. There's a reason to finish it. But
I don't have time for that.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm in the middle of watching Star Trek.
Yeah, that's fair. Because you're in the middle of watching Star Trek, that's fair. But everybody else should watch it. Because here's my thing, though. The one thing it got wrong is you're right. Robots would be doing the labor, not humans. So that's the one thing they got wrong. But the augmented reality stuff that we talk about, they militarized that to where that's what a super soldier is. A super soldier has a AR built into their eyes and into everything, and has that extra data and those extra abilities.
That is a Black Mirror episode.
That too. But this was before Black Mirror, though. This was made before Black Mirror. Continuum was made before Black Mirror.
Yeah, Continuum was before. Black Mirror, I didn't really like that episode very much. But basically, it used AR and changed the way that the soldiers saw their enemies to make them look like monsters when they were just like regular people.
Which is also part of the plot of Ender's Game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, for real. Like, we are the actual villains. You know that, right? Like, humans
Audrey's
are
like,
probably...
I'm just coming here to have a good time.
Humans are the villains.
We're the villains. It's like, think about it. In a story...
The penal colony.
In a story where, like, in a story where, think about it.
As soon as they try to leave the solar system, they got to be annihilated.
Think about it from the perspective of even everything on our own planet. From the perspective of every other living thing on our planet, if everything else on our planet was sentient, would we be the protagonist or the antagonist in that story?
Depends on their point of contact.
Well, you know how it plays out. Well, Romina, you know how it plays out in Princess Mononoke.
But I think it also brings up a good point that there's two sides to every side.
Maybe they like us, you know.
Because even the bad people
They believe themselves
have
to be
their
right.
justified reasons, right?
Right. How do you think that we're like, think about it like this. Here's something. If extraterrestrial species like share like a hive mind, and if the Roswell crash is legit, and can you imagine that the Roswell with the living autopsies and with all that, if you can think about the idea of psychic screams,
Right.
we really are the galactic boogeymen if you think about it from that perspective.
What is the psychic scream?
If they're a hive
If they're
mind,
connected,
if they're all a hive mind and they're all connected, and like whatever we did to the aliens
it's
that crashed
basically
here,
like it's the idea that every entity can feel what the individual
Oh my
feels.
God.
So if like one person is hurt, then all of them feel that pain.
That
So it's
sounds
the idea
absolutely
that
terrible.
if they are able to understand what the one alien endured during the living autopsy, then their perspective of us
is skewed,
automatically
but
becomes
oh yeah, and think about it like this. A species that shares collective memory, collective real-time experiences, and collective pain as a hive mind is a species that would not be at war with itself. So from an evolutionary imperative, they would be, especially if there's
superior.
few in numbers, they would preserve their species. But that also, think about what we would have accomplished technologically if that was true for us, because then we wouldn't have had any of our wars and we would have worked collectively as a species. And so with our ingenuity, if we all literally shared experiences, shared memories, shared pain, one, no knowledge that we ever attained would be lost. It'd be preserved and it would be equally spread across the species. But
And everyone would learn from the experience.
and everyone would learn from the experience. Imagine what that scales in terms of our technological capacity. And then we'd all be working toward the collective good of all, because all share the same experiences, the same memories, and the same pain. So we would do everything to minimize and eliminate human suffering. We would create abundance, and we would be radically technologically advanced, because we wouldn't be spending any of our time on things that weren't good for us. No self-destructive tendencies, because what the pain felt by one is felt by all.
What's fun about that?
This is based.
I'm just saying that's how you would have to be as a species to evolve to the point of, on a certain timeline, assuming that they had the same resources. This is predicated on a lot of assumptions. But if you want to wonder, how could a species evolve to the point of interdimensional or extragalactic travel? Well, that would be a really good incentive to do so.
This is essentially describing the Borg species in Star Trek. They are also a hive.
Yeah.
And they all have the same memories and the same experiences. So if one of them is engaged in battle, they've all engaged in that battle.
Really
Sounds
hard
like the
to
zombies
fight.
from Minecraft.
It's really hard to fight.
What?
It's really hard to fight a species that evolves that way, though, because
Pigman from Minecraft. Sorry,
it's
the one's
it's
like
yeah. No, it's super
Bruno.
hard to fight a species that evolves that way, because it's the same problem with fighting an immortal. It's the same thing with fighting an immortal. If every time an immortal, if you lived forever and you were like an eternal warrior for whatever reason, right? Like in God of War or something like that. If you're an eternal warrior, you literally have fought every battle, every type of way, have mastered every weapon, have done all that. Now scale that to, there's an entire species of you. And like learning in real time new strategies, new battles, new abilities, new everything. Like, that's just terrifying.
How do you feel about that, Audrey?
I'm terrified.
But that's what the Terminators should have been. And that's why the Terminators theoretically... Here's the thing. The problem with the Terminator franchise is that a constantly learning AI with limitless battle capabilities, assuming, though, if the Terminators are networked, they win. Skynet's fundamental flaw was not networking all the Terminators together so that their true machine learning is scaling. Because if their true machine learning was scaling, we would have never beat them.
What Chef says, this is a great convo. thanks for joining us. And we're glad that you're enjoying our conversations. Should we keep talking about this, or should we talk more about this next week? Should we dive
we've
into
already been an hour 20.
Should we dive into
Aliens versus robots.
topics? Aliens versus robots? Do we want to go
Which
into
one
that?
is worse for us? Which one's the bigger threat to us? Is the bigger threat to us
Oh no.
is the bigger threat to us an invading alien species, or is the bigger threat to us the robot masters that will rule over us, that we're going to give birth to through AI and automate? Like,
Is that the question for next time?
I mean, I'm exploring the
is-
idea. Could that be that is like, what's the bigger threat, aliens or robots? Like, which the bigger threat?
Good question.
Aliens versus robots versus humans.
Yeah, like what's the, or are we the biggest
Which
threat?
one
Are
is more
we
dangerous?
or again, are we the bigger threat? Are we the big bad? Are we the big bad? 'Cause
Someone in
maybe
the comments said, "How about an invading alien AI robot?"
that's interesting.
See, this
That's
sounds like a
true.
topic. This sounds like a topic for next week.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
But again,
so if you guys
maybe
are
we're the big
interested-
bad. But maybe we're the big bad.
So if you guys are interested, we do usually start at around 8-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's every
Podcast is
Thursday.
2 weeks behind though.
Okay, but for the people who are in chat right now,
Yes. If
We
you're listening to
are-
this, you need to catch
yeah.
up.
point is we live stream every Thursday, 8 p.m. ish Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to engage in this conversation live, talk about aliens versus robots versus AI versus humans versus insects, then that's what's going to happen next
Insects.
week. Yeah, I just tossed insects in there. And you seem to have a problem with insects, Audrey. So I'm just going to throw that in there to give you a little opinion.
Wow.
But yeah, if you want to join us, that's what's going to happen. And I think we should probably start wrapping this up. If you wanna think about the outro here.
Yes.
Roberto.
Zoning out.
He's
No,
looking
I was
at-
tweeting.
he's-
No, I was
Oh.
tweeting.
he's tweeting.
I was tweeting something basically kind of teasing this whole thing,
right.
making a joke. But
We're wrapping this up. So if you want to
let's,
think about the outro,
yeah, let me.
Audrey, is there anything you'd like to say to the audience before Roberto starts his outro?
E.T. should be classified as a horror film.
Wow. Okay. Is that really what we've learned?
Yes.
Did you see that picture I sent you?
Yes.
Oh.
That is
right, I've got the
absolutely
outro.
terrifying.
You don't have to yell.
I've got the outro.
Right, Roberto's ready.
All right. Thank you for listening to the No Assembly Required podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing. Well, nothing except for our impending doom at the hands of aliens, robots, or ourselves. Thank you for listening to us across all podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, and of course Google Play, and wherever else podcasts can be found. Please subscribe on youtube.com/noassemblypod. Thank you for listening to your host, RedRomina, and of course, enemy to all ETs, Audrey Ember, and your future galactic emperor, Roberto Blake. This has been the No Assembly Required podcast, filmed in front of a live YouTube audience. No audience members, ETs, or cyborgs were harmed in the filming of today's episode. Please like and subscribe and tune in next week when we continue this conversation. Aliens? Androids? Are humans? Who's the bigger threat? Hint, it's us. Thank you for listening. Enjoy your evening, and we will see you next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same bat time, same bat channel. This has been the No Assembly Required podcast. NARP.